Okay, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Okay, guys, this is video number 2 for tonight. It is January 22nd, and it is 10:58 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's get started. We're going to dive right in here. And what we're going to be talking about is this coronavirus, because I don't think we're being told, okay, I know we are not being told the truth about this. And I had these 3 links at the top here because I was just going to kind of go over it generally. That was a couple days ago, or maybe yesterday I put that there. And now what I'm discovering, we don't even need to look at this stuff because it's all American based and it's not true. So, and of course, I just want to mention that we had no coffee, Patreon, or snail mail. So we're just going to jump right in here. And I'm going to start here. I'm going to show you something that if you've not seen this or you've not heard this, and I don't think very many people know, you're going to be shocked. So I wanted to be sure that you guys got the right information. Coronavirus. Now this is July 23rd, 2015. Yes, there is a patent for it, which means, of course, it's man-made, right? You can't put a patent on something that is naturally occurring. There's no patent on the cold virus or flu. But this, the present invention provides a live, attenuated coronavirus comprising a variant replicase gene encoding polyproteins comprising a mutation in one or more of the non-structural proteins, NSP10, NSP14, NSP15, or NSP16. The coronavirus may be used as a vaccine for treating and or preventing a disease such as infectious bronchitis in a subject. Yeah, okay. Now, so latest, the Pirbright Institute patents attenuated African swine fever virus vaccine, stabilized FMDV capsids, chicken cells for improved virus protection, mutant spike protein extending the tissue tropism of infectious bronchitis virus. Now, let's come down here. And so field of the invention, the present invention relates to an attenuated coronavirus comprising a variant replicase gene which causes the virus to have reduced pathogenicity. The present invention also relates to the use of such a coronavirus in a vaccine to prevent and or treat a disease. So there is it says avian infectious bronchitis virus, IBV, the etiological agent of infectious bronchitis, is a highly infectious and contagious pathogen of domestic fowl that replicates primarily in the respiratory tract, but also in epithelial cells of the gut, kidney, and oviduct. IBV is a member of the order Nidovirales, I don't know. A family Coronavirinae, I don't know, subfamily Corona, whatever. So this, let me see, come down here. There's got to be, all right, let me come down here. Description, somewhere, there is the, well, obviously, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not the daughter of a doctor, and I'm not the wife of a doctor. So I don't know what all this means. Some of you that may be nurses or doctors may know all of this. I do have I've taken a lot of medical courses actually in university, but I certainly, and I don't know what all this is down here. So I'm going to leave this. I'm going to pin it to the first comment because I would love for you guys that have some medical background to take a look at this and tell me what we're looking at. But it's a patent. It involves the coronavirus. I'm not sure. But, and this was in 2015. The date of the patent was 2018. Not that long ago, just a year, a little over a year ago. So I don't know. But current U.S. class, Coronaviridae, neonatal calf diarrhea virus, feline infectious peritonitis virus, canine coronavirus. I don't know. I would assume that there is something gobsmacking here, but I could be wrong. So if there's anybody here that's a doctor or has medical expertise at all, a nurse practitioner, let us know what you think about this, because I can look through this, but not having that background, I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at, other than it's a patent. Now, if this is the patent for the vaccine, I don't know. So I would love to have some more eyes on this. I really would. So I'm going to pin this to the first comment, and I want you guys, any of you guys that have any medical knowledge, to take a look at it. All right. And we're going to come back here and let's look at this right here, because this is coming from someone that is, I'm not sure if it's this one or it might be another one that's coming from somebody directly in China. All right. It says, please share all articles and information pertaining to the viral outbreak that originated in Wuhan here. Any submission made outside of this thread will be deleted. Okay. Now, we come down here, and because from what I'm hearing from people that are actually there, it's way, way, way worse than they're telling us. Way worse. When you quarantine a city that's got 11 million people in it, like from the way they were making it sound in the news, I thought Wuhan was just a little country town or something, like not a lot of people. 11 million, hello, that's a big deal. And there are not just the few that they say. There are thousands that have been infected. And people are indeed, from what I've heard, missing. They're missing because they're being taken to these, quarantine camps. 11 million people, and they've shut off all traffic into and out of the city, from what I've understood, or they're going to be shutting down. All traffic going in is now shut down. All flights going into or out of are now shut down. Someone said they're going to be shutting it so that the people cannot leave as well. Now, how that's going to work out in a city of 11 million, I don't know. But how do you quarantine a city that large? Really? And is this a test for something else? Are they testing it here? I don't know. But I have a hard time believing that it came from a meat market where they were selling, wildlife meat that was not, I don't know if it's legal there or not, but they had some pretty strange meat there, wolf pups and weird stuff. I don't believe it came from there. I just don't, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but from everything I've been reading, we are not getting the real deal on this. Says from this South China Morning Post, China coronavirus, crowds and confusion on the hospital front lines of outbreak. China coronavirus travel ban issued for residents of Wuhan on the 1st January of January 22nd, which is today, of course. That's all right. Okay, let me come down here because there was something in here that I wanted people to see. Okay, and CDC confirms the first U.S. case of China coronavirus, and now there are 5 people in Montreal, Canada, that have been quarantined that came from Wuhan and are there. They're all experiencing the symptoms. 5 people in Montreal. Yeah. So there is a massive, and I know Americans probably aren't aware of this, but there is a massive Chinese population in Canada. I mean, massive. I know my aunt moved to Toronto. Gosh, I probably was just an infant. and has been there ever since. And the area where they moved to now, it's completely Chinese. In fact, I think they're one of the only white people in their neighborhood, but the Chinese make great neighbors, so they've never complained about that. But all the stores are in English and Chinese, and it's massive. There's a massive population there and on the West Coast. But Toronto has a very huge Chinese population. So this is the time where the holidays in Chinese for the Chinese New Year, and people are traveling. The students go home, and then come back. Not a good time for this to happen. In fact, probably the worst time for this to happen because of the holidays. Millions and millions of Chinese are moving around and traveling outside. So, not a good, probably the worst time for this to happen in terms of that. Now, all right. It says this is like asking possible infected to go overseas to kill more. China dealt with SARS nearly 20 years ago. They can deal with the new virus better than ever. No, this is far worse than SARS ever was. It's possible that the CCP is actively trying to cover this up. It's also possible that they simply don't have a full head count and are overwhelmed. The government knows, medical experts know, and we know that the number for infected and dead are much higher. Yeah, way higher. However, it takes time to confirm cases. And right now, honestly, I think it's a bedlam there. I think that it's just sheer pandemonium. And it's not even conceivable that they could be counting the number of people that have died or are infected at this point, because from what I've seen, it's bad. So, and they were saying that a doctor caught it, and he was fully masked at all times while in the hospital, but he did not protect his eyes, and the virus can even get in through your eyes. This is airborne. It stays in the air for 24 to 48 hours. So let's say there's somebody from Wuhan that's infected and they walk through the airport. Well, everybody that walks, in the vicinity of where that person's breathing could potentially catch this virus. So for 24 to 48 hours later, it's not just, they walk through the airport, they're breathing, and it's gone. No, 24 to 48 hours, it remains in the air for people to breathe it in. That is serious. So, let me see down here. I'm trying to... Says, my entire family is in Wuhan, and my mom left last month for a wedding that took place there. She was supposed to come back a few days ago, but she decided to stay for the same reason. Here's what I know from our group chat. They've shut down the subways, put a stop in most transportation there, and prices are starting to rise. There's no way of telling who's infected and who's not, because there is a brief incubation period in which the symptoms are hidden for a couple days to a week. Some people are super afraid. Some people are saying it's blown out of proportion. Mostly older folks say the latter, though. Everyone is highly encouraged to wear masks, but unless you have a chunk of free money lying around, the cheap $1 masks you see people wearing on the streets doesn't seem like it does a good job visually in containing whatever stuff you're yakking out. Not only that, but all masks. There are no masks, not even one, in the city of Wuhan or the whole surrounding area. There's no more masks. They're gone. And of course, now that nobody can get into the city, there's not going to be more masks coming in. So there you go. I grew up there, and I can tell you the city is also effing filthy. I love it for its grim, but GD, it's dirty in some places. It was really a matter of time before something like this had happened again. SARS outbreak, 2003. My family is also fairly affluent and lives in Wuhan in our WeChat group, and my uncle is taking his friends on a business trip out of the city. They've already hired a private company to escort them tomorrow. That being said, I don't think the average Chinese citizen is going to just stay put when told to. We're way too stubborn and prideful, and most Chinese... I'm sorry. My cat was... I've got some, stuff in a vase, and yeah, my cat's just carrying it away. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, let me see where, yeah, we're way too stubborn and prideful, and most Chinese citizens are actually fairly uneducated. I haven't been even begun to mention the friction against a changing world in which most older Chinese tend to stick to cultural traditions in doing things. The collective stubbornness in doing certain things one way for a long time, even if it goes against sanitation regulations or laws, is one of the variables that allowed this to happen. Lastly, the Chinese New Year's celebration is literally around the corner. There are millions of people who work as factory mill contractors that New Year's is virtually the only time they can leave to spend a few days with their kids and family. Although Wuhan isn't really a factory city, it's one of the largest, richest cities in China, and it's a major transportation hub for all things accounted for, in and out. There is simply no way in hell the average mainlander is going to listen to a TV telling them to stay put on this holiday. At least from my experience, people are going to start moving in and out of Wuhan regardless of what the government says. So we're concerned at this point, but there's really nothing we can do. Just hope that the inevitable displacement of millions of people in the next few days of the New Year's won't be as bad as we think it might be, and hope that the government and WHO takes active measures to continue figuring out how to solve and contain the virus. It's already out. The virus is already out. They've got a confirmed case in the U.S. We've just had 5. This is brand new news because I was speaking to my parents earlier and they weren't even aware of this. They said, well, thank goodness, no cases in Canada yet. Oh, spoke too soon. There's 5 in Montreal. And how long will it be before it's in Toronto? Not long, if it's not there already. And so, yeah, it's already out. It's been noted in some countries. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit too late to put this genie back in the bottle, but we said that about Ebola, and well, it's far from contained either. We're just not hearing any news about it, and hopefully I will update that as well at some point in the very near future, because we're not being told the truth about that either. So anyway, says, unfortunately, it is very severe. Wuhan has been closed down. No one can go in or out. This urgent decision took place today at 0000 hours. The virus seems to be more aggressive and contagious than previously thought. Oh, what a surprise. And wild that the government clearly underplayed the issue and has now escaped from NBD to quarantine the whole effing city in less than 48 hours. Tell me, how do you quarantine a city of 11 million people? Tell me, how is that going to be effective, really? Unless you plan on just killing everybody in the city or allowing them to die. They got to get food in. They've got to, the medical facilities are overrun. What are they going to do? Yeah, this is not what's being sold to us here in the narrative in North America at all. When you start talking to people that are actually there, it's nothing like they're telling us it is. Now, should we be afraid? Well, at this point, no, we should pray for these people and we should protect ourselves as always. When you go to the grocery store and you put your hands on the cart, the little buggy, make sure you sanitize your hands. But even that, because, if somebody's there that has that, then you can breathe it in. So I don't know. At this point in the States, it doesn't seem to be very widespread, but that doesn't mean that it won't be. At least they're taking precautions. Now, this I'd love to be able to just read this all because it's fascinating, and a lot of it is from people that are actually there. It says doctors at several local hospitals told Cakeson reporters that they estimated that the number of people infected with the outbreak could exceed 6,000. That's more in line with what I've heard. have been infected. I heard anywhere from 5,000 to 9,000, but you take that in a city the size of Wuhan, and they're saying that the numbers are doubling every 24 to 48 hours, I believe is what they said, but I'll correct that when I get to the part. And it says, I work at a childcare school, and they have provided an official document regarding the virus. Obviously, I cannot post the source, but they cannot even admit it's now human to human, which it is. The omissions in this statement are blatant lies, and there's the thing there. Now, I don't want to drag this out all night, but I do want to get to some certain things that I think are important for you to hear. I'm skipping these because they're North American based news, and we're not getting the truth. So I went right straight to the source for a lot of this. Now let's look at this. It says, this is above top secret. Virus spreads to more Chinese city. Who calls emergency meeting? And this was posted on the 21st, which was yesterday. It says, many have probably heard about the virus that causes pneumonia-like symptoms happening in China. The reason I am posting this is due to the Chinese Lunar New Year, where many Chinese traditionally travel overseas to party or leave the cities to visit back in a home province. Great opportunity for this to spread, in my humble opinion. That's correct. Beijing, an outbreak of new coronavirus has spread to more Chinese cities, including the capital, Beijing, and Shanghai, authorities said on Monday. Why haven't we heard this? I haven't heard this on our news, but this is according to what? Reuters, Beijing. And it says, and a fourth case has been reported beyond China's border. And obviously that doesn't include the people that were just found in Canada, 5 people in Montreal, Canada. That was January the 20th. And Beijing, Reuters, an outbreak of new coronavirus has spread to more Chinese cities, including, okay, that's the exact same thing we just read. Except for this part, China's National Health Commission confirmed that the virus, which causes a type of pneumonia, can pass from person to person. The official Xinhua news agency said, Unlike Ebola, which needed a transfer of body fluids, you have to wonder if this can be transmitted by a cough or a sneeze. Yes, it can. South Korea on Monday confirmed its first case, a 35-year-old Chinese national who had traveled from Wuhan, the 4th patient reported outside China last week. There's certainly a lot more now. Last week, 2 cases were reported in Thailand and 1 in Japan. All 3 involved people from Wuhan or who recently visited the city. A report by London Imperial College, MRC, Center for Global Infectious Disease Analysis, estimated that by January 12th, there were 1,723 cases in Wuhan City with onset of related symptoms. Chinese health authorities have not commented directly on the report. That was January 12th. So, what is it now? This is all very, very possible case in Brisbane, Australia. I passed through the Brisbane airport last Friday. We'll post information here if I get further. And let me see what else. Brisbane, Australia guy has been cleared, so that's good. Generally, coronavirus are known to spread much like influenza virus. So if this new mysterious Wuhan would not be acting like that, it would be of, I don't know, that obviously English is not their first language. So anyway, it spreads just like influenza. And if your kid has the flu and goes to school, well, so does the rest of the school. That's just the way it goes. So now let's come back here because there's more. There's always more. Now, breaking, this by BNO News. Breaking, no one will be allowed to leave China's Wuhan, which has a population of 11 million from 10 a.m. on Thursday. So tomorrow at 10 a.m., That's it. The city is cut off. Nobody in, nobody out. Now, how, I don't know what the perimeter of the city would be like, but how are they going to enforce that? Really? I mean, if people want out and they're hungry and they want to get out, you know, I don't know. How long will it be before the stores are emptied? How long will it be? You know, I don't know. And this, breaking 911, the Chinese government has quarantined the city of Wuhan and plans to shut down the airport and public transportation within hours. According to reports on the country's social networks, the virus has been linked to at least 17 deaths and has sickened over 400 others. See, you can tell this is coming from a North American, it's coming from Fox News. So they're not telling the truth. Either that or they really don't know. But if I can find out, why can't they? If I can go and talk to people that are actually there, why can't they? It's pretty easy to do with social media now, to find somebody in a city of 11 million people. Yeah, some of them are on social media. Imagine that. So why aren't our news stations doing their job? Oh, they're too wrapped up in impeaching President Trump. Yeah. Perfect storm, isn't it? They're all getting ready to travel. This is the big holiday in China. They're all getting ready to travel. You've got 11 million people quarantined. 11 million people. I think this is unprecedented. Completely unprecedented. So let's look at this. Now, this is interesting. It says, incredible, the entire city of Wuhan has been quarantined and completely isolated. No one can enter and exit from the city. And here are the pictures of what that looks like. There you go. Can't get out or in. There's no planes. They've shut down the airport. No planes in or out. No public transportation. So if you don't have a car, well, even if you do have a car, all the roads are blocked off. You can't get out. You can't get there by public transportation. No public transportation. No planes in or out. So you're either going to walk out of that city or you're not getting out. So what do you think of that? Unprecedented. Why is this not all over the news? Really? Don't understand it. So let's look at this now. All right. Now, hang on here. Video from a chat group shows the dire situation in Wuhan's overcrowded hospitals. All concerned citizens, sick or not, have been waiting for confirmation on whether they've caught the Wuhan coronavirus. Imagine how easily people can get sick from standing in these lines. Yeah, and let's just take a look and listen. Look at the line. And you're standing around with other people that... Of course, we have no idea what they're saying, unless any of you speak the language. But look at all these people, and they, you know, they're in line to find out if they've got it. So obviously they're not feeling well. So people that may not have it probably do now. This is, you know, just think of, you know, the sheer horror of something like this. Imagine trying to quarantine. I'm not sure what the population of New York City is. Let me find out. Population of New York City. Let's see here what the population is. Oh, just 8 million. All right, so I know probably lots of you, if you haven't been to New York City, you may live in New York City, but many of you may have been there. And just imagine a city the size of New York City being quarantined. Nobody can get in, nobody can get out. You can't get to work because there's no transportation. How do you stock the shelves at the grocery stores when nobody can get in? There's no flights leaving, there's no flights coming. You can't take your car anywhere because all of the highways in and out of the city are blocked. The only way you could possibly get out is walk. And what if you're disabled? What if you've got children? You know, this is huge. I have never in my life heard of such a thing, trying to quarantine that many people. And, you know, bless their little pea-picking hearts, they're trying to do what they can to contain it. But, you know, and I think, okay, well, what else can they do? They can't just say, well, you know, carry on as usual, because all these people are going to go into the rest of China, especially in this time of year when they're all traveling, and it's going to be all over China. China is going to be absolutely inundated with this. So I don't know. I don't know how you even handle something like this. So anyway, I know, you know, people tend to, you know, get off on fear porn, and that is not my intention. My intention is to give you a realistic view of it, not the view that the mainstream media is trying to portray, because we all know they're more concerned about the Trump impeachment and about the stars and what they're doing and what they're saying. And Melissa Alano, who was at the impeachment, the Senate impeachment. I mean, who the heck cares? You know, these are not, they're, you know what they give us? They give us bread and circuses to keep us placated. They don't want to tell us the truth about anything. But there you have it. And let me come back here. Now, this by Jack Prosobic. On Chinese social media, authorities censored posts by users whose relatives have died after suffering from pneumonia-like symptoms in the Wuhan coronavirus. They waited a month to begin airport screening. Like I said, it's too late to lock the barn once the horse is out. The CCP covered up the outbreak while thousands were infected and traveled. That is the truth. Now, this by Anna Fiffield. Some contacts for the Wuhan transportation shutdown today. 600 to 800 flights a day through Wuhan airport. So, yeah, it hasn't been shut down until, I think it was today that it shut down. And think of that. How many people have flown out and in the days before it was shut down? And how many people are out there? They're traveling and they're out there in the world somewhere and they're infected. Maybe their symptoms haven't started to show yet, but they're infected. I don't know. I'd like to say none, but that's not even realistic. So up to 920,000 passengers a day, almost a million passengers a day through its train stations. That's the train stations. Just the train stations, almost a million a day. And then you've got 600 to 800 flights. Wow. China imposes de facto quarantine on city at center of coronavirus outbreak. But yeah, they're saying the death toll 17. That is laughable. Do you think you quarantine a city because of 17 people? No. I mean, just think of, because I know it's hard for Americans and Canadians to understand the sheer size of Chinese cities. But just compare New York City, which is still a heck of a lot smaller than Wuhan, and Consider if 17 people were sick in that city and they decided to shut down all flights into New York and out of New York, and they shut down the buses and the subways so people can't get to work. The roads are blocked. You can't get out of the city. There's nothing coming into the city. There's nothing going out. Do you take that kind of massive step? Drastic. Talk about drastic. For 17, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. There were more than that with Ebola, and they didn't do any of that stuff. So let's take a look at this now. All right. Are you already scared after hearing that China has sealed off Wuhan after the discovery of a new deadly type of mutated virus there? Here, have a look at this video from Shanghai showing the Chinese authorities trying to disinfect a contaminated area. Now, here they are down here. You can see them going along with these vehicles. They're trying to disinfect areas. That's in Shanghai. All right. And now, this is the information about Canada. 5 individuals are being tested for the Wuhan coronavirus in Quebec City and Montreal after traveling to Wuhan and showing symptoms of a respiratory virus. Airports in Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal to begin precautionary health screenings. Oh, to begin, not they've already begun. No, there's still people from Wuhan being accepted into our airports. That's right. In Canada. Anyway, I'm not sure. I haven't read about what the States is doing. I thought they were actually screening for people, but or they've shut off flights for Wuhan. I'm going to have to look that up and get back to you with that. But this is pretty alarming. Pretty alarming. It says cases of the Wuhan virus strain of coronavirus continue to be reported across China and in other countries in the region. Over 400 people are now believed to have been infected. Oh, heck. 400? Yeah, times that by many. No way. It's just 400 because you talk to people that are actually there. Yeah, they're saying, look, there's people that have disappeared. We don't know where they are. They're taken to some, quarantine camp or something. There's, lots more people infected than they've said. They're just not wanting to say because they know the whole world will panic, and, well, they should. Not asking anybody to panic. It's not going to help anything to panic. Take precautions, stay healthy, get your immune system, as healthy as you can. That's basically all you can do at this point. And we have to trust. Now, I trust Donald Trump. I trust Donald Trump will do everything in his power to keep it out of the United States. I certainly don't trust Canada to do the same. I just don't. There is too big of a Chinese population here, and they don't want to tick them off. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's go back now. And it says, and this, so this was tonight, actually. It says, it looks like Wuhan International Airport has closed, and it is. It is closed. No flights in, no flights out. The airport is locked down. There's no flights at all. So all transportation is down in Wuhan, all of it. Unless you have your own car, but where are you going to go? You can't leave the city. So be like being in New York City. Yeah, you could drive around the city in your car, maybe, unless they had checkpoints and stuff, but you can't leave. That's scary. So yeah, I wanted to bring this to you guys because this is a quickly changing scenario. It just seems to be changing by the hour. So stay on top of this. Don't trust your mainstream media. Try to get your media, if you can, and you're on social media and you're, adept at that, try to find somebody that is actually from there to speak to. And, a good way is to just put Wuhan in the to search for Twitter or what have you, and that's what I did to actually speak to people that were there and witnessing it firsthand. That's who I want to hear from. I don't trust our news. Call me crazy, but I've got good reason not to, and so do you. So there you go. That is my video for that, and I am going to stay on top of this, so I will be updating you, but probably in along with other news. But I did want to have this separated in its own video because I think it is imperative, and I wanted to get this out there quickly. So there you go. I'm going to leave that for now. I'm not sure if I will do another video tonight or not. I would like to. We'll just have to see, but don't be waiting up late for it and everything, because if I do and you decide to go to bed, you can catch it tomorrow. It's not going anywhere. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate everything. I really do. And you guys have yourself a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth. Deception bites. You know it does now.